Right, let's have a look at this Windows 8.1 preview. A few people have been asking about the alleged new start menu, so I thought I'd quickly show you. This is running in Parallels 8, so let's quickly fire it up. I can't be the only one that thinks that fish looks upside down. Right, here we go. So I'm just going to sign in. It's pretty much a fresh build this, all that's on it is Office at the moment. So as you can see, straight build, we're straight to the normal start menu. A couple of small things you can do in here now that you can change things like the size of the icons, for example. So I could change that one. I can resize it. There we go, I can change it from small, which is ridiculous. I can change it to medium. The wide that it was originally set at. Of course there's a large setting now as well. You can also, if you want, turn off the live tile piece, which is the piece where it updates automatically. Not quite sure where you'd want to do that on apps like that. Search seems a little bit better. If we type in Word, for example, brings up all our apps. There's a little bit more context on the search, which seems a lot better. And there we go. So there are a few things that are new. I haven't really been through all of them, to be honest, but let's have a look. You'll notice down in the corner here we've now got what looks like a start menu, but here's the thing, it's not really. If you hit the start, look what you get. You get straight back to the main modern UI. What you can do though is if you right click on there, you get lots of new options. So for example, you can jump into PowerShell, you can do all the computer management, even things like disk management, for example, and there's also a control panel on here. But there are things you can do to this menu to try and customize it maybe a little bit better to what you prefer. So let's have a quick look in control panel. We're going to go into appearance and personalization, I think. There we go, taskbar and navigation. Now when you pull that up, you get a number of different options now. For example, you've got peak preview on the desktop. So for example, if you move to the right hand side, it actually previews what's going on the desktop. There you go. I don't have anything running. Maybe if I had something running, it would be clearer. You can also do things like small taskbar buttons. There you go. I'm going to turn that off because I think it's horrible. Also things like the navigation have changed now. So for example, if you point to the upper right, you can get the charms bar appearing. I won't on mine because I've got my upper right set to something else within OS 10, but same when you click the upper left corner to switch between recent apps. Also on the menu you can change PowerShell, for example. If we look at the minute, when we go in there, we get Windows PowerShell. If you turn that off, what you get is a normal command prompt rather than PowerShell. So there are some neat-ish things. Now the other one here that's probably going to interest a lot of people is the go to the desktop instead of start when I sign in. If I select and apply that, let's log out and see what it looks like. There we go. So it kind of does what it says, which just takes you straight to the desktop. Of course though, if you then click on this menu, you're straight back into the modern UI. So what I'm going to do is just pop back into that menu we were in control panel. And we'll have a look and see what other options there are. So one of those options there, show my desktop background on start. Okay, so I've applied that. Now if I pull at the modern UI, you can see that it overlays my desktop now rather than bringing up a whole new screen. Doesn't seem like much change, but I have to say on my iMac, my 27-inch one, it does make the modern UI feel far less in your face and aggressive like it used to. Bit odd that, because it's such a minor change. The other options you've got here, always show start on my main display when I press the Windows logo rather than it going onto all of them. I haven't tested that yet, but it'd be interesting if it works, because I normally have 2 screens plugged into my iMac. And the other one here, which is to show the apps view automatically when I go to start. Now if that one's running, when I go to start, rather than getting the new start menu, I actually get a more familiar start menu. So for example, I can change it to most used, which is probably the most similar one to the one that we had previously on Windows 7. So they have made some improvements, but it's still, I'm sure you can see, it's still dominating your whole screen. So for example, I can run Word there. There we go. So what other options are there? List desktop apps first in the apps view. That's interesting. So basically what it will do there is it will always list the full screen. Well, depending on how I've got them sorted. It'll list the full screen apps first as opposed to the desktop based apps. And there we go. So what other options? There are things like jump lists, which are, should be pretty familiar to everyone. And of course the toolbars, where for example you might want to include your touch keyboard or your desktop. Well, in fact, let's include all of them. There we go. So you can see all the buttons, all the toolbars down the bottom there. There's our touch keyboard. Yeah, so like I say, just a quick test really. Just for the people that were asking about the start menu. This machine is what, a 2.4 gig, I think it's a Sandy Bridge. It's got 4 gig allocated to it. It's running off an SSD, so it is pretty quick. So what we can do, for example, let's have a look. Let's find Excel. We'll pin that to our start, to our taskbar, sorry. And maybe our Word as well. And there we go. If we fire them up, I haven't activated Office, so as you can see, it's actually pretty quick. Yeah, but I suspect that's more to do with the machine rather than the Windows 8 itself. 8.1, sorry. Anyway, I thought you'd be interested in seeing it. And there we go, done.